Aye, what is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on. Alright, y'all. Now, we got a really interesting video today, y'all. We getting back on the topic of witchcraft, spiritual warfare, very important things we still need to be talking about and, growing more discernment on these topics. So the first clip we're going to get into comes from David Mustaine, the frontman and I think co-founder for the band Megadeth. He also was a part of Metallica and he was kicked out of the group and he ended up forming Megadeth. Now you already know if you're a part of a band called Megadeth, you're into some deep, dark shit. It reminds me today of like these brands that have like really demonic names. Like the other day I was in the store, right? And I saw a coffee brand that was named Death Wish. And the logo is literally skull and bones. It's a cross of bones and a skull on top of it. And it's a coffee brand. And it's called Death Wish. I said, oh my God. It's done leaked into the grocery store. You can't, I said, who is buying a coffee brand called Death Wish with a skull and bones logo on it? What's in this coffee? And I think there's another brand that's like, what kind of, is it, what kind of drinks are those? I think they're like those energy type drinks. It's another brand that titles the drinks like different kinds of just demonic, evil, death names and stuff. I can't remember what it is. One of y'all might know in the comments. But I'm like, yo, this witchcraft and, this evil is leaking into the grocery stores, y'all. The brands, the coffee, Death Wish. But anyways, you get my point. If you're a part of a band called Megadeth, you know it's some dark witchcraft going on. Recently, David went on the Sean Ryan show, right? So the guy, Sean Ryan, he's been interviewing a lot of people lately, talking about witchcraft and all kinds of stuff. And I actually have a video coming up as well where we are about to get into CERN a little bit more. So y'all definitely stay tuned for that video. I'm actually excited to do that one as well. And it also comes from his podcast where somebody was talking about it recently, right? But not to get off track. So we're finna go ahead and get into this clip with David talking about witchcraft and how he was possessed. And I think he may have, been on the dark side doing rituals and witchcraft on people for 15, 20 years. I'm not sure, right? Something like that, he said, maybe up until he was about 30 years old or so. Pretty old guy now, though, right? The story he tells is kind of mind-blowing toward the end. It even makes the guy Sean Ryan go like, oh shit, when he tells the story about how he was possessed, right? Now, on the back half of this video, we're also going to get into more witchcraft, and that is going to come from the guy, John Ramirez. Now, I think he's been on YouTube, doing interviews and stuff as an ex-Satanist for over 15 years. And he talks about some really good stuff I wanted y'all to hear. I'm actually surprised I've never, showed a clip from him on my channel. But he talks about some very important stuff as well. So we're going to get into one or two clips from him as well in the back half of this video. So without me doing too much talking, y'all, man, we'll go ahead and jump right into this stuff. All right, y'all. Check this out.
So what is, I mean, I don't know much about witchcraft.
You don't want to.
What is the, in a snapshot, what is it? Is it?
Well, there is a understanding that there are black witches and white witches, that there are witches that do good. But witchcraft is still witchcraft. It's the use of the elements and there's alchemy, there's wizardry, sorcery, electricity, magic. There's use of blood, use of spit, use of sperm, use of all of these things that are all part of what was created and being used in an unnatural way. So, for me, I when I walked away from practicing any kind of witchcraft, because I didn't practice it. I did it 2 times, and both of them worked. And then I went, this is bigger than I am, and I'm not going to mess around with this. And so wrote the song "The Conjuring," and there was another song that was kind of along from that inspiration, from that experience. It was "Bad Omen."
Wow. I read that you stopped doing witchcraft around 30. Sounds like it went on for about 15
That
years.
ended way before that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I think about it all the time. Whenever somebody pisses me off, I think, man, no, I won't. I've actually, when my sister was alive, I called her up a few times and talked to her, and she talked me out of it a few times because I was at the end of my rope, and I knew it worked, but didn't do it.
It sounds like you were in some, I think you described it as a satanic depression.
No, oppression. It was like a possession, not depression, like having a spirit on you.
How so?
Well, when you open up the doors to the dark, they're not going to wait to be invited in. They're coming, right? And if I believe in God, then I have to believe in the devil, right? And I believe in God. I believe in Christ. I believe in the devil. I believe they're demons. I believe they're angels. Still don't know what the real estate looks like up in heavens, but it's. I've got a pretty good understanding of a lot of that stuff, and I don't know the stuff that happens when you get really drugged out. A lot of times, you start to do really unnatural things. Because you're on drugs. Well, why wouldn't you? You're not yourself. You either have liquor in you, which is called spirits for a reason, or you're on stuff that's like an opiate, which makes you think everybody's your friend, and or you smoke pot and you're paranoid of everybody, or you take sedatives, which for some people they need them. They need them to be able to not wear the people out around them. And other people need stimulants, like children who have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. But when somebody starts grinding pharmaceutical speed because they like it, it's kind of what meth is.
So do you think you were possessed?
Oh, I know it was, because we tried to get my life in order, and stuff just kept happening. And we would go see people who were spiritual in nature, and they would say that they see something. The priest that was in, we went to go see I forgot, I told Darren all this stuff too. We had been talking about what had happened, Pam and I, and I said that I wanted to get rid of this. So we went to this person, her name was, I think it was Caroline somebody, and her husband was a Green Bay Packer football player, so I thought it was legit. And she was a doctor, so she would do these kind of clearing things. And she had this Indian guy that was a Raja come over. He was like a priest that did laying on hands, cupping, acupuncture. And so he came over and he said, when he was doing the acupuncture on me, he was meditating behind me and he fell over. And he said that there was a man with a silver turban that came out and said, I release him. And that's when he fell over. When we went to San Francisco to go see the Filipino priest, he said that he laid hands on me and the head of a bull came out of my chest, out of my stomach. He said,
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I don't know what the fuck happened. But, in the spirit world, I don't know if I would see it, because I don't know if I have that gifting to see the demons. But, he had said the same thing. So there were several people that had nothing in common that knew that there was something going on with me. And finally it broke. And I remember getting baptized at some place in Northridge, California, and somebody, and this is freaky. This is freaky. Somebody had said that there was a lot of weird stuff going on in that room at the time, like chairs were moving around because there was a bunch of people in there that were getting baptized, and there was a lot of tongues being spoken and stuff. I didn't see any of that stuff, so I got to see it myself to believe it. But that's what I heard was going on in there, and I was thinking, man, that's pretty cool because if this whole God thing's real.
All right, y'all. Now, what I mostly want to talk about in that clip was toward the end. Very interesting, right? He answered, he was sure, he was positive that he was possessed. He said, "Oh, I know I was." Because he basically went to people for exorcisms, I guess, right? And, he said these people were very spiritually inclined and they worked to get these spirits out of him. He said one of the people said that they saw a bull come out of his chest. A bull. Now, off back, if you are possessed by the spirit of a bull, now in my mind, you must have participated in some kind of little one sacrifice or some kind of fertility ritual. If I'm not mistaken, there is a bull spirit in voodoo as well that, some voodoo priestesses or voodoo priests worship as well. There's also two major demons, two major deities or gods of little one sacrifice that we've talked about before, which is Baal and Molech, who are essentially the same. We know Molech, there was a cult of Molech. We've talked about this before on the channel. Just so, a little bit of context, we'll go over it one more time, but I'm going to keep it short. Molech was the ancient god of child sacrifice. The cult who worshipped Molech, they reportedly sacrificed little ones in a furnace set inside the belly of a bronze bull. He was an alleged Canaanite god of little one sacrifice. They boiled little ones alive in the bowels of a big bronze statue with the body of a man and the head of a bull, which is kind of how Baal is described to look. This is the bull that the cult of Molech would sacrifice the little ones in. Big giant bull with the belly of it is a furnace. It's a fire. Catch what it said. They would literally boil them alive. That is pretty insane. It says Molech is most frequently referred to in Leviticus. Here is a passage from Leviticus condemning little one sacrifice. Do not allow any of your children to be offered to Molech. So we already know what's going on here. So it says scholars have compared these biblical references to later Greek and Latin accounts, which also spoke of fire-centric little one sacrifice in the Carthaginian city of Punic. They wrote of burning little ones as an offering to Baal, Hammon, a chief god in Carthage, who was responsible for the weather and agriculture. And he was also the god of fertility. Then it says scholars are still debating whether or not the Carthaginian practice of little one sacrifice differed from the cult of Molech. It's generally believed that Carthage only sacrificed little ones when it was absolutely necessary, whereas the cult of Molech might have sacrificed more regularly. Now, in this article, which is mostly about Baal, says Molech, who also demanded little one sacrifice, was similar in features to Baal Hammon. He was a Canaanite deity with a bull-headed idol, but it was not solely practiced among the Phoenicians or their Carthaginian cousins. Often referred to as the African Saturn, Baal presided over the heavens, storms, dew, flora, and fertile ground. He ruled the gods and was the Carthaginian goddess Tanit's masculine partner or consort. His characterization as the African Saturn by the Romans suggests that Hammon was seen as a fertility deity in his Romanized version. Now that makes me think about when we were reacting to the clip with G. Craig Lewis, and he was talking about how, you know, Beyonce and them had to go to those deities, those mommy water spirits, and they had to do fertility rituals to unlock her womb because their wombs were already given up. It even reminds me of when women or men are watching Pornhub and you are basically giving these spirits your womb, you're giving them your seed, and in turn you end up having trouble, you know, reproducing. A lot of people who have trouble having babies, or you have weak sperm, you know, it often goes back to how much you've given yourself to the spirit world because of masturbation and watching so much porn. It's crazy how everything sort of connects into the spirit world, right? Thought that was very interesting. It takes it to a whole different topic because I've never heard anyone say that, you know, spiritually they had a bull come out of their chest. And he said he wasn't able to see it, but he said these people saw in the spirit world a bull come out his chest. I said, wow, whoa. What was he participating in to have that spirit possess him? Must have been some kind of sacrifice to where he was possessed by this demonic bull spirit, y'all. That I thought was very, very interesting. So look, now we're going to get more into some of this witchcraft with John Ramirez, and he's going to talk a little bit about tarot card reading and how spirits follow you home and how there are monitoring spirits. And, you know, we've talked about some of this stuff before as well because it kind of connects back to gang stalking a little bit. But, you know, he goes in more on the topic, and is really interesting to hear. So with that being said, y'all, check this out.
You know, you mentioned the tarot cards.
I can explain it.
Well, good. I'd like to, because there was this weird
Because
experience.
people getting fooled.
Yes, they
So many.
right.
I had your number. Call Miss Cleo.
Yeah. When I was younger, when I was reverting, one of these kind of spiritual medium, like witch people, oddly enough, kind of played a role in my reversion.
Okay.
The short version of it is, I was an actor, I was on a project, and I talked to an actress, and we were talking about Dante, because she was Italian. And anyway, I saw her sometime later at an audition, and she said, Michael, you're not going to believe this. I was talking to my psychic, and I walked in, and right away she asks me, who's Dante? She goes, I'd been seeing this. I said, well, hold on, you see a psychic? What? Excuse me? But then she said, yeah, I've been seeing this psychic. And anyway, out of the blue, she asks, who's Dante? And that's such a weird thing, you know, because we were just talking about Dante. And it really freaked me out. I think I might have even called the woman, though she didn't call me back, thankfully. And what freaked me out about it was, oh, there is a spiritual reality that is not totally explicable by physical means. And and then the next thought I had was, hold on, there are people who go to psychics, who go to tarot card readers, who go to, and so you say the devil promises you something that he can't pay off. Well, of course, what do they promise there? They say, oh, we'll predict the future. But the devil doesn't know the end of the story.
He don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like the psychic, right? This is what they do. You go to psychic, you sit with her, you tell her your name, she writes your name down on a piece of paper, and she says, well, my name is whatever, my name is Miss Cleo, whatever, they use a name, right? So they take the cards, right? They break them in three, past, present, and future. They tell you to break it in three bundles.
This is the tarot
The tarot cards. Okay. So you break it in three bundles, past, present, and future. The past Demons roam the earth. They know your past, familiar spirits.
Yeah.
They know what you do. They know what you've been. They know how many abortions you had. They know how many pain you're in. They know your situation, your circumstances. The demon knows. So the demon is reporting to her everything to say on the cards about your past. Now you impress, right? Because you impress. First you get impressed. Like, ooh, she knows. Why she knows that? She don't know me. The humanity of her don't know you, but the demon is talking to her, knows you. Because demons roam the earth. In the book of Job, God summons, the devil said, what have you been doing? I've been roaming up and down the earth.
Yeah.
Right? So now she's telling you your past and you're impressed. You're like, whoa, how she knows that? Right? And then now she tells you, take the middle cards, the middle deck. Now she's going to tell you about your presence, things you're going through now. And now your curiosity is up and running, on red alert, because now you're curious. Oh my gosh, she knows my past. Now she knows my presence. She's wheeling you in.
Yeah.
So now she's telling you, your marriage is messed up, or your husband is messed up, your kids are messed up, you're having problems with your neighbor, you're having problems at work, you're having all these things, because demons roam the earth. They spying on you. This is called monitoring spirits in the demonic kingdom. So they're monitoring, they're reporting back to her, telling her all these things about you. Now you're blown away. You're like, wow, how does she know these things? Now she has you spiritually, because now she only captivated you. Now she has your curiosity, she captivated you. And then the third step will be your future. Then this is what she tells you. This is the catch-22.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I see your kids getting into an accident. I see your husband leaving you. You're like, my husband been faithful for 50 years. We've been married. How's he gonna leave me?
Yeah.
And she said, no, I see here. You better do this ritual, do this ceremony, do this cleansing. It's only gonna cost you $1,500, right? So you're like, oh, wow, well, I don't kind of believe that, because me and my husband, like peanut butter and jelly, we go together, we go everywhere, even to the bathroom, that's how close we are. And you said, could you give me time to think about it? So she'll tell you, she'll drop a number on you. Oh, you got 20 days, because it's gonna go down. Now you miss it, you get busy, 20 days, you find a phone number in your husband's pocketbook, his wallet, phone, whatever, and then you find your husband, pictures, whatever. It's a setup. Because the demon that was talking to her, go home with you to produce these things, to make these things happen, to seduce your husband, to put your kid in a car accident. So now these things happen because you can't stop what you can't see. These demonic powers, you open the door to it, they go, they perform these things. Now you think the witch knows the future. So you go back to her because now you're desperate, right? You drop the $1,500 on her. After you drop the $1,500 on her, right? She calls back the demon. Everything goes peaceful for a season. She makes the $1,500. She do the ceremony. And then she say, you got to come back in 3 months. You keep doing it. That's another $1,500, another $2,000, another $3,000. And then you got to do a ritual, another $4,000. And now you think that she helped you.
It's like a protection racket.
Right.
Speaking
protection,
of the Bronx,
the Bronx. Right.
Hey, she would
Bronx
be
tale.
ashamed if something happened to your store here, right?
Right, exactly. So now she has you because now she's controlling you. She's manipulating you to your family, to your loved ones. And now you think she helped you because she made things peaceful for a while. It's witchcraft. They don't know the future. They create chaos with demons that put a witchcraft that's put on you. And the only person that knows the future, he has a great future for you, is Christ.
Now, that right there, my friends, was very powerful. He said you can't stop what you can't see. And he's talking about the demonic kingdom. He's talking about demons. Demons that have been roaming this earth for thousands of years. Those familiar spirits that are pretty much aware of everything you've been through in life. I like how he exposed the whole tarot card reading thing because it's still very popular in our day right now. And a lot of people still, call themselves being able to read your future, read your past, so on and so on. And there are people out there who are pretty gullible, and you just basically broke it down to you, using these demons to cause chaos. A lot of people just getting money out your pocket, basically a trick at the end of the day by using familiar spirits, using these demons that already know the things you've been through and allowing these demons to follow you home. Because once you agree to have your future read or dig into your past by this supposed psychic or something like that, You know, you just opened that door. Once you open the door, those demons choose to do whatever. They literally follow you home. And I love the way he worded that, because he said those things will come true because of the demons following you home. And they're actually making this stuff happen to you. That reminds me of the Marine Kingdom, because the Marine Kingdom spirits, they do the same thing. They will cause you to have car wrecks. They will cause you to go bankrupt. They'll cause you to go broke. They'll, place scams of money on your life, all kind of stuff. Like, these spirits are responsible for this stuff. And that's exactly what it reminds me of. So people start thinking this stuff is happening because this person read into my future and told me what was going to happen, when really this demon just followed you home and made all of it happen. And, I love when we get to talking about the spirits that have been roaming the earth, just like he said. And just like he said in the book of Job, on another day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them to present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered the Lord, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it." I mean, he had nothing else to do but go cause some chaos. And that's exactly what those disembodied spirits are doing today. Hundreds of thousands, millions of them. Those demons are roaming the earth, y'all. We just can't see them. And that's what we're going to get into in the next video with CERN, because we're going to talk about why we can't see them. We're going to talk about the veil. We're going to talk about what CERN does to be able to access that veil, and what that veil is made up of that's keeping us from being able to see it, and keeping the darkness, away from the light, dividing the two. Basically, we're going to get into that. But this is kind of exactly what it is. We can't stop anything we can't see. And if we allow these demons to follow us and come into our lives, this is what ends up happening. And we allow the demonic kingdom into our lives so many different ways. I mean, going out to these clubs still in this day and age, drinking, smoking, being around all those demons and all them different spirits, guess what? They following you back to the crib. It happens so much. People going out to certain places at night when there's nothing good happening after 12, 11 o'clock at night, getting around these demons, getting around these people, partying, drinking. You going back home, you stop at a gas station, you get robbed. Guess what? A demon just followed you through this person. You just got robbed for all your stuff. Maybe even got your car took because you out at a certain time of the night where, these demons is active. They're active. We got to remember, there is a certain time of night where the veil is very thin, and these spirits, these demons, they get active. They got hella energy at that time. There's a time where it becomes a little bit weaker, and you're almost able to step foot, across the spiritual plane, in a sense. But I thought that was very, very interesting, because a lot of people even do that on YouTube. There's still videos and channels where, what they call it, like spirit box or something. Like when a celebrity die, you'll see videos pop up saying they just talked to the celebrity and shit. Like, y'all gotta chill. You gotta chill with that. I've never even clicked on one of them videos. Before I even made myself aware of all this knowledge, my spirit just told me that ain't what you want to do. We try our hardest to, walk on the right path. We try our hardest to just stay protected, stay protected under God. And, it's much easier to do if you just put some thought into your words, and you put some thought into your actions and the things that you decide to welcome into your life. You'll have a much better chance and a much easier path of just walking straight and not dealing with the demonic energy that comes from the demonic kingdom. All right, y'all. So we're going to get more into some of this talk in the next video that we're going to do about CERN. So y'all stay tuned for that one. That'll be dropping right after this. Basically, y'all already know I'm in that mode. We're pretty much dropping every day this month, or every other day. We just, we're going to do it. So with that being said, y'all, let me know what y'all think about this video down in the comments. That being said, Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon, all right? I'm out.